AngelDodger stands for two things. The Angel in AngelDodger stands for, well, the team that I'm wearing right now, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, a baseball team. The Dodger in AngelDodger stands for the Brooklyn Dodgers, a team that played in the early 20th century in Brooklyn. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about facts that you might not know about the Brooklyn Dodgers, ranging from their World Series appearances in the 19th century, from their uniforms and many logos and teams, nicknames that they had while they were playing in Brooklyn, all the way to their eventual move in 1957 to Los Angeles. The Dodgers have been in the National League since 1890. However, they were actually established 7 years earlier in 1883. In 1889, they represented the American Association in the World Series. They played actually the New York Giants in the National League, and they lost. In 1891, the American Association collapsed, so games that were played for the World Series were between the team with the best record in the National League and the second best record in the National League. In 1900, they actually won the World Series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Major League Baseball only recognizes World Series victories that were won from 1903 onwards because those were the games that were played between the National League and the American League. The Dodgers are known for their many World Series games against the Yankees, but before 1941, which was the first time that the Dodgers faced the Yankees in the World Series, the Dodgers actually made it to the World Series twice. They lost in 1916 to the Boston Red Sox and in 1920 to the Cleveland Indians. When the Dodgers won the World Series in 1900, they were not called the Brooklyn Dodgers. They were actually called the Brooklyn Superbers. Throughout their history, the Brooklyn Dodgers called themselves many different nicknames. They called themselves the Trolley Dodgers, the Grooms, the Grays, the Atlantics. The Dodgers actually settled on the nickname Dodgers in 1932 and have used it ever since. The Dodger nickname comes from the fans having to dodge trolleys in order to get to the games at Ebbets Field. As you can see, the Dodgers have worn many different uniforms throughout their time in Brooklyn, from powder blue uniforms to white and blue stripes. But the strangest uniform you'll probably ever see is a green uniform that was worn in the 1937 season. This picture you see right here is a picture of a wool jacket that is supposed to replicate the uniforms that were worn during that season. You can get it on MLB.com. I don't think anybody's buying this uniform. Before the Dodgers played at Ebbets Field, there were a number of different parks that the Dodgers played in, and some of those parks or parts of it actually stand to this day. The old stone house is a replica of a Dutch stone farmhouse that was built in the 1690s. This was also used as the Dodgers clubhouse when they were known as the Superbers. It was also used in the Battle of Brooklyn, an important fight during the Revolutionary War. Before the Dodgers moved to Ebbets Field in 1913, they played in two parks called Washington Park. If you're ever in Park Slope, between 1st and 3rd Streets on 3rd Avenue, check for this wall. This is part of a Con Edison yard now, but this was the wall that was used for the second Washington Park for the Brooklyn Dodgers. On April 15, 1947, Jackie Robinson became the first black player to play in the major leagues in the 20th century. He was not the first black player to play in the major leagues. A man named Moses Fleetwood Walker played for the Toledo Blue Stockings in the American Association way back in 1884. His brother would also play for the team. 5 years later, an agreement called, the Gentleman's Agreement was established. There was no written rule about this, but essentially all the owners at the time agreed that none of them would ever sign a black player to play for their club. Jackie Robinson, a Hall of Famer, played for the Brooklyn Dodgers from 1947 to the end of the 1956 season, when he retired and was traded to the Giants. At the time, the Giants did not know that Jackie Robinson had decided to retire. Jackie Robinson took a job at a company called Chock full of Nuts, where he had a VP position. He had no interest in playing in baseball after the 1956 season, and his decision to not play for the Giants had nothing to do with the fact that they were the Dodgers' hated rivals. Jackie Robinson gave Horace Stoneham, the owner at the time, a letter stating that he would have enjoyed playing for the Giants, but he had no interest in playing in baseball at that point in time. Now we finally get to talk about the Dodgers' infamous move to Los Angeles after the 1957 season. Most people blame Walter O'Malley, the Brooklyn Dodgers owner at the time, for moving the team to Los Angeles. But in fact, Robin Moses, an urban planner from New York City, denied Walter O'Malley the opportunity to build a new stadium in Brooklyn. He actually wanted them to move to Queens. After years of lobbying, Walter O'Malley decided to move the team to Los Angeles because he realized that there was no way that he was going to be able to move the Dodgers to a place in Brooklyn. The site that Robert Moses wanted the Dodgers to move to became eventually the site of Shea Stadium and the place where the Mets played from 1964 to 2008. And the site where Walter O'Malley wanted to move the Brooklyn Dodgers eventually became the Atlantic Mall, which is right across the street from the Barclays Center, which is where the Nets play as the Brooklyn Nets. Well, that was a lot of facts. I could have gone even further, but I figured that this video would have gone too long. If you want to see the sites that I use to get my information, you can look at them in the description. But if not, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.